Good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to a new edition of Urban Sentinel Live. I'm your host, Reggie Kearney, and I want to welcome everyone who's viewing us tonight to the weekly show, Urban Sentinel Live, which is an offshoot of the magazine, Urban Sentinel Magazine. What we try to do is interview people that have been in the magazine or going to be in the magazine or just got a great story. And I look for those great stories because I'm always looking for nuggets and wisdom. So tonight I have with me all the way from South Carolina, Keisha Esprit. Did I get it right, Keisha?
Yes, correct.
Okay, all right. I know I messed it up earlier on my little promos I was doing. So, hey, welcome to the Urban Sentinel Live Show. Glad to have you. How you doing this evening?
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm honored to be here. I'm doing well.
Good, 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 good. Keisha is a woman that has a lot on her plate. I don't know if it's a small dessert plate or a small full-size plate that you can just chop up a lot of food from. But I mean, Keisha, she has done it all from working in fashion as a runway model to working on magazines as an author and writing articles and to what I think might be her passion, poetry. So Keisha, to get started off with, just tell us something about yourself.
Well, I'm originally from the Caribbean island called Barbados, and I have been writing from a very young age. Around 7 years old, I already started writing books and even writing letters to companies. I always had the entrepreneur mind. So from 7, 8 years old, I already had started that way of, doing things and thinking. And I was always pretty good with words. I never was I was never an avid reader, honestly. I'm not a person that loved to sit and read books, but I was always good with the essays from primary school. I could sit and write for other people and help them pass their exams. And myself, I have been able to get into pass for high school with an A, the highest grade, or an A grade in composition. But I never completed a book because I don't know. I guess it's just a talent. It's a gift that you have that skill.
That's a great skill to have. I mean, I tell you, for my time that I spent on the university level doing stuff, I hate to write. I mean, gosh, I would love to pay somebody to write, but you don't know what you get. So I would have to force myself to write papers, research papers. I would just like do them at the last minute, because I just wasn't big on writing and stuff. But before we get started, I want to let everybody know too that during her collegiate career, she was one of the fastest women in track and field. 400 meters, right? At South
The
Carolina State
400, the 400, the 100, the 2, and the relays. Those were my events.
Okay.
Yes.
So let me tell you, if you owe her some money, she gonna catch you, okay? You can't run away, can't get away from her because she gonna get you, okay? Because she is fast. And at my age, I'm just walking there, I'm not running, so I know she'll catch me. So so I know you did great in school. You say you got A's and stuff in your writing skills and things of that nature. So did that push you into writing poetry? When did you write your first poem?
I had to be in primary school, but I really took it seriously. By the time I entered college, I started putting together a book during my freshman year. And I originally was in Texas before I transferred to South Carolina. I started at NAIA, Wayland Baptist University. Then I transferred to South Carolina State University because, my athletic abilities, I went to a higher level of division. NCAA is completely different from NAIA.
Right.
And the books were published because I have 3 poetry books. They were published around that time. Yes.
Now, what were the names of your poetry books that you had published?
First book is Esprit Poetry. The second one is Le Fleur, representing the flowers. Esprit Poetry Part 2, and the third one is Part 3, Esprit Love. I mix esprit with the English word love and esprit, the French word, together, and giving a man's perspective on love versus a woman's perspective. And it was, quite personal, and I expressed myself in there. And I was the sole female poet. All the others were men, a poetess. The others were like 3 or 4 men in there with me in that
Okay.
book.
Okay. Now tell me something. So what did you think when you heard Amanda Gordon at the inauguration? What did you think? What did you think? Here's a young lady who's poet laureate. What was your thoughts when you heard her?
Yeah, I was very impressed. She's a gifted young lady. She was brave enough to go in front of the world and express herself, and that is good. It helped develop her, skills more.
Right. Okay. Okay. Now let me ask you something about poetry. When I was coming to school, it seemed like all the poetry you read rhymed. Okay. Now, when you read poetry, it doesn't necessarily rhyme. Okay. But it has a statement in the poem. There is a statement. It does connect. So how do you get your words to connect when you're not rhyming, but you're putting forth a thought on paper?
Well, thank you for mentioning that, because many people think that poetry is rhyme and everything must rhyme, and that's not the case. I actually teach that because I'm also an educator, and I teach 12 different styles of poetry in the school system, depending on the subject I'm doing for that day. And you have multiple forms of poetry you touch without rhyming. And the objective is to reach the public, but the truth is it comes from your heart. There's you shouldn't really critique anyone's poems because it's natural and it's come from within. So whatever you put there is up to, I will think, the audience or the readers to grasp what you're saying.
Okay. Because like I said, yeah, over the years, I have gotten and gained a different perspective and much more appreciation for poetry.
Yes, and I've done major competitions, and I've seen people won, and they were people will consider it basic with some simple lines. They won the big poetry contest.
So I guess one of the things you have to do when and correct me if I'm wrong, when you're writing poetry, you have to have small sentences that get the points across, or in the whole poem
Not
itself.
necessarily, because I have them here. My first poetry book. Most of my work is, you can see long, some long lines, but then I have some that are shorter. You don't always have to be. It all depends on your style or how you want to change it up, or how you're feeling. As I said, poetry is a form of expression, just like rapping. All those are forms of poetry. Rapping and any song we hear, that was a form of poetry. To just put it into a song.
Yeah. And you probably could say that about I'm glad you said that about music. When you listening to songs from different artists, that's basically poetry put to music, their thoughts, but they just take it and put it into a song. That's pretty cool.
Yes, yes, and it actually works well because I was a fan, and I still am a fan of the late Tupac, and he originally started poetry. And Nikki Giovanni, I think he had met her. I have met her too, Nikki Giovanni and Sonia Sanchez. They're great poets. And if you look, the message got across better to society and to people after he put it into rap, because you can hear the voice more than most people don't always read. So despite there are people who are avid readers, you get more attention if you can get that on, audio music. You can sell more. You can also get more people thinking, because more people are into music, and music is very powerful. It can charm a lion. Just the beats, everything can bring you in.
Yeah, because Tupac had a unique style. I enjoyed Tupac myself, and still enjoy him when I hear him. Because his poetry his songwriting was like, it was outstanding. Even his nemesis, Biggie Smalls.
That was a real poet there too. He was an exceptional lyricist. He was good.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Biggie, Biggie can put some words together, and put some music to it, and it sounded
Mhm.
good. And sometimes you wonder when you think about it, where would they be at right now if they were still living? And I think they'd still be on top of their game.
Yes.
I still think they'd be just
Because they
rapping
use
out.
a lot of similes and metaphors and
Hmm.
subliminal words that most people of today don't even take the time to do.
Yeah,
But they were special artists.
and I think one of the reasons they use so many metaphors because they were trying to tell a story of their life and what happened in their life, what was going on in their lives, and what was going on in their neighborhoods. What they saw every day growing up, what they saw as an adult. So you're
Yeah.
right, they were definitely trying to get a message across. Trying to get a message across. So you also write articles. You also do articles on
Yes, I've been doing that for
different
a long
topics.
time. I started writing for I call it the biggest magazine, not
Hmm.
magazine, newspaper in I would say the Caribbean. We have many, but
Hmm.
Nation newspaper, I work as a team for that company in my country, Nation newspaper. So I had the experience to be an early young journalist,
Hmm.
sports journalist. I also have my bylines on different things, front cover page and sometimes inside. And that was a passion of mine. And most of the editors would tell me, Keisha, you never really had to do much editing on your work because it was so
Hmm.
good. You never really had much anything to do.
So, I mean, how old were you when you were writing for the newspapers?
Almost 17, 18. I was in I was in
Yeah.
school, but still I was doing. I was running for the country, but they treated me good. I was in and out, but still doing it until I got my scholarship and I leave the
Uh-huh.
country. But I
Uh-huh.
had that experience at a young age.
Yeah. Gosh, you
And it was great because they pick you up, take you where you need to go. You'll be at the
mhm,
events. You have a lot of power when you have some media. You involved with the media. You can
right.
see everything and kind of call the shots
Yeah.
to a
I'll
certain
tell
extent.
you have been blessed, because of some of the fact you started out so young. You had a talent that was enormous.
But I was very young. I was also very focused because I could have gone
Mm-hmm.
the other way. Because at that age, I had some I won't say friends, but schoolmates who were not focused on those things. They had other interests in life, but I wanted at that time to go that path because I
Right.
figured at least 2021, I want to at least be doing something else or start to move
Mhm.
to other things. And that's how
Right.
it worked for me that I started doing these things so early.
Mhm.
Hmm.
So, then how did fashion get into all of this?
Well, I started with the fashion when I went back to New York because I lived in New York. I've lived many
Hmm.
places in America, New York, and I work on Broadway, Manhattan area with
Hmm.
some very successful celebrity coaches and acting coaches and
Hmm.
an agency there. So I had a chance to meet some of the very top stylists, names that I don't really want to call their names, but they're top in the
Right.
in the industry, the stylists for the stars
Hmm.
and all that. I work in the office with some of these people. But people will tell me, Kish, you need to start your own business because what you're doing, you can't do on your own because people always come for you for help and always want everything for free.
Hmm.
So they say
Hmm.
start charging them a little fee. And I started very small doing the consultation for modeling. But this was something that I would say was in me from a young age because my mother had a group called the Eleganza group in Barbados in the early 80s. I was a baby. I was early 80s. And I saw all of that. She taught them how to walk. Did some of the most household names in singers in Barbados. And also um, models came out of her group. And they're still doing well today. But they were there from then. So I grew up and saw that from a young age. And the name Eleganza that I used actually was her original name of her group, Eleganza. Like my business is
Hmm.
called Eleganza Fashion Marketing and Consulting. But it really started there. Many people don't know that from the 80s, and it was held right there at the Barbados Labour Party headquarters on Robert Street. There were, the leading government,
Hmm.
but I grew up around those kinds of people, that environment, and that's what I saw. Fashion, um, legal matters, lawyers, judges. That's what I was around from a young age.
Okay, great. So you got a good celebrity from your island too, Rihanna.
Yes.
She's from Barbados.
Hmm.
Yeah. So got some good stuff coming out of Barbados. Some
Yes, we have
very,
a lot of talent, but
yeah.
y'all don't even hear half of them. There's so much talent
Uh-huh.
in Barbados, in fashion, music, singers, everywhere, artists, art, drawing, everything you can think of.
Gosh, that's awesome.
But the power is marketing, and if you get known, if you're known, the world will know you. But
Mhm.
if you have a product and no one knows about it, if I have a book and the world doesn't know, they're not going
Right.
to buy it.
Hmm.
That's a secret. Is always marketing.
Now your poetry books, you can get those on Amazon.com, right?
Yes.
Okay.
They're on Amazon again. They once were on Barnes and Noble's Books a Millions, but
Hmm.
I have
Hmm.
out of that contract now, so I had to republish everything. And I also
Hmm.
have children's books, which you probably don't know. I have children's books. I have
Okay.
a series of Serena books, and
Hmm.
I have a lot of manuscripts that I've never released yet. They're still there in the I call them in the bin or in storage. Manuscripts of all kinds of work, which I
Right.
plan to get it going because
Good.
it's been there for many years, and I need to publish the work.
Okay. Women don't tell their age, but how old are you, Keisha?
I think it's really sad because females don't like to talk about their age. When you pass 25 as a female, you don't want to tell people your age. That's the truth. I was born in the 80s, early 80s, so you
Uh-huh.
should know I'm not 40 yet, but I'm in my 30s.
But
And
but
females don't like to talk about their age.
I know y'all don't. I don't know why. I'm 130 years old. I'm glad to be old. But look.
Yeah, because psychologically females think they're getting older, and when they hit a
Mhm.
certain age, 30s, they don't want to talk about it. They get some get depressed about talking about that
Right.
stuff.
But yeah, I embrace age. But no, the reason I ask you, you have done so much in your young life. I mean, you're
Yeah, I have
all
done
you
more
know.
than some people. Some old people tell me, Kish, you've done more than some people have done in 5 generations or
Yeah,
people 5 different.
yeah.
And I
Cause
don't
you.
think I'm finished yet. I don't think the Lord is finished. The Most High is finished with me yet.
Uh-huh.
You know.
Well, definitely not. I mean, you talking about you have manuscripts that you haven't even done anything with. They're just sitting there, probably finished and ready to go. That is awesome.
But
To
sometimes in life sometimes you may have setbacks or you may have a change
mhm.
in because you're going through different things. You take a break. People don't understand that writing is a mental thing too. Sometimes you don't want to write or you get mental blocks or you have other things
Mhm.
going on. And I do multiple things per day, and some days it can be very overwhelming.
Mhm.
I have a lot going on daily, and I
Right.
have a son too. So he's
Mhm.
6, so it takes a lot now with virtual school and multiple things that I'm working on with my products and a brand team building my website, and all this is
Mhm.
being done overseas internationally. So I have a
Right.
lot going on, and a radio show now.
Oh yes. So tell us about your radio show. And before you do that, people, excuse me tonight. My allergies are killing me, and I'm dealing with it tonight. So tell me about your radio show.
Yes. My radio show is called the Esprit Radio Show, and it airs every Saturday, 9:30 Eastern Standard Time, just
Hmm.
for 30 minutes. And the objective of the show is to concentrate on all areas and people, diverse, just like how I am, giving everybody the chance to be heard, whether you be poor, whether it be a charity organization, whether you are middle class or even rich. But the main thing is to inspire other people through people hearing these stories. And if you want to promote your products through my platform, you can do that. But also, it must be every topic must or every profession must be, of course, related to being something moral and not no immoral business. And I always try to make sure I mention the Most High or have my people speak about that, because without him we can't do anything, even if we think we can.
Oh
You know,
yeah. No, you can't. You
he's
can't.
he's the creator of all things, no matter what people
Mhm.
say. And at the end of the day, he's the one who will win because he's the Alpha and the Omega.
That's right. Beginning and the end. You got to have. You got. you gotta have God in your life. You know, I mean, I
And
got.
people are surprised to hear me when they say you're so young to be so always speaking about God, but you can't forget Him. And
You're
that
right.
was the environment I was raised in. My grandfather was a minister, so
Hmm.
he did, like, I think 16 or 32 years. He was serious about his work too.
Yeah, yeah. So you've really been, and that's a blessing, you know, because like you said, a lot of people don't acknowledge the fact that God is in their life, and what they've received in life is because of God. He's blessed you, and you have really been blessed with great talents. And you know, I think you just said you were developing, you know, some products. What type of products are you developing as an
Well,
entrepreneur?
I do have the products already. Like I have lipstick, the lipstick line, and I have pastry business that I'm doing now. And I'm doing more, trying to go into more book publishing. I have perfume and fragrance, but I'm still looking for a really good company that can give me something in bulk and for a good price. I already have the ingredients and the actual bottle and product, but people can't afford to buy them because even for me it's expensive because I have one of the top chemists who make my everything I have is from scratch, and they're the best people who make manufacture even my lipsticks and everything. They're
Mhm.
not just something you see on the shelf and people go and buy them and they put a tag on it. These people take time to manufacture it, tell them what I want, and it's very expensive, you
Mm.
know.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, okay. Yeah, you are.
I have some very I have a lot of family, well, the real genuine family who purchase my products. I thank
Mhm.
them and my friends and my clients. And I also have household names that wear my items too. Many people wouldn't know that, but they wear my lipsticks. Celebrities, designers, not only in Hollywood but different areas too. They like my brand and what I have. But again, it all comes from a lot of marketing.
Uh huh. Hey, look,
Hmm.
I've got you out here writing stories for me for the magazine. I need to be writing stories about you. Yeah, you done gave me about 3 or 4 articles, you know, that you can just write about your experiences, you know, and what you're doing. You know, it's awesome. So, what type of advice can you give to up and coming entrepreneurs that have products or have dreams that they want to pursue?
I would tell up and coming or aspiring entrepreneurs to don't think you know everything. Try to get advice from veterans or people who can lead you in the correct way. Try to obtain information on real financial literature or literacy because that's something we lack, especially in the Black community. And we think that, oh, I'll just buy a product and sell. That is entrepreneurship, but there's so many different levels to entrepreneur life. You can just sell one product, and that is being an entrepreneur, but you have so many different levels, and the higher you can go into it. But you can either stay basic and you can go to sleep at 9 o'clock or at 8 o'clock, but then you have the real level where you're going to be going to sleep all hours just to keep it going. It's a business where you really don't sleep. There's no real time to sleep
Hmm.
because you're your own boss and you have that free spirit to do as you like. That is some of what I would suggest.
Hmm. Because we in the Black community, we, you know, even that though a lot of us, many of us try to become entrepreneurs, but we just don't support each other, you know, and that's the biggest drawback I see with Black entrepreneurs and people that call themselves going into business is the lack of supporting each other and building each other up. You
Yes, we
know,
support everybody else though. We go and
yeah.
support other people's brand, but we don't support our
Hmm.
own.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on Facebook. I'm in a number of groups that push um, black businesses, but the thing about it, even among us, nobody wants to support. You know, support each other. You know, I feel like I have a great product. You know, and I
Definitely.
put out a great magazine, but it's hard
Exceptional.
to. Thank you. It's hard to get people to read it or buy into it. You know, I mean, it makes me wonder sometimes, have we given up on knowledge, learning and receiving knowledge? You know, it seems that way, you know. But sometimes you got to step out and, you know, go other places to be successful, you know, to find that market. and everything, because I think we just do it. If we as a people would support each other, just think about how good that would be for our community if we did that. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So look, what are your plans as far as branching out and maybe making an incubator in Barbados to help people in Barbados pursue their entrepreneurial dreams? Have you ever thought about that?
Yes, I have, and I'm actually working on that right now.
Oh, okay.
I actually do, and I have some projects going on, which will people will hear about in the near future in Dominica. I'm
Hmm.
actually, I share, as I said, parentage, mother Barbadian and father side Commonwealth of Dominica, and I actually do
Hmm.
more work now, or more interest is actually put in Dominica than even Barbados,
Hmm.
because they are the ones who quickly, you tell them that you have an article, they put it in immediately. In the earlier day years, it was the other way around, but now it's Dominica, and I have the same rates for both countries. I could represent either or both.
Hmm.
But I would love to do more and give back to Barbados. But as I said, more of the efforts are honestly being placed in Dominica. But I have spoken to some institutions, but it's for them to actually put their foot down and actually get more serious.
No,
You
okay,
know,
okay,
and
okay.
I do a lot of humanitarian philanthropic work with my apparel business. I have an apparel business too. Every my products, when they're sold and when I purchase them and I sell them, before I sell them, a percentage of those funds go to Africa to help orphans at a particular school there
Hmm.
that benefit. They're able to eat food get a hot meal every day, and also it help pay the teachers. So it's not only me; it's a community, a group of people who do this. And the same with other programs I work with presently in Africa, who are
Hmm.
trying to build their they have a single parents, mothers who are doing apparel now, and they're trying to raise funds to do more things. But there's a lot of people out there who try, and they need a lot of help all over the world, not only Africa, America, and the Caribbean. There's a
Oh
lot
yeah,
of poverty in the world. There's a lot of wealth, but there's a lot of poverty and unfairness too.
yeah, yeah. Lawana Bradford said African Americans would fare so much better if we embraced the concept of leverage and collaboration. I love
Yes,
that
Miss
statement.
Bradford.
I would say, look, I'm gonna have to take that statement off and write it down and put it on a poster board or something. She is telling the truth. We just won't collaborate. Um,
And I should mention, I'm very inspired. She's very inspirational lady too.
mhm,
Yes, that Miss
mhm,
Bradford.
mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Well, look, you have inspired me tonight. Okay, like I tell people, you can be inspired at any age. Okay, all right, and I think a lot of times we forget that regardless of the age, you can learn. Okay, life is a learning
Yes.
process. Until they say your final words and throw that last shovel of dirt on you, life is all about learning. Okay, so you constantly are learning, and I'm always personally for myself, always trying to learn something that's going to help me get a step ahead in my business. And that's how I do it. So I welcome the bright minds like yours on my show because I'm always learning something. I'm always learning something. So what's the final word you want to tell the audience tonight before we go?
I don't have any particular mantra or affirmation. I just would tell everybody to get focused, get with the right people, make sure you put the Most High first, and never give up. Because I never give up on anything that I've done. That's how it works. I went from being the coming last in Barbados to beating and breaking records because I trained hard. When everybody was sleeping, I was working. I was working hard, doing push-ups, abs, pull-ups, and I started to improve because I knew the talent was there, and I just had to get back there. So I trained hard, and I excel, and actually literally flew like be able to run and do it all internationally, Caribbean events and overseas. So
Okay.
the mind is a powerful thing to waste, and
Mhm.
you shouldn't waste it. You should use your talents, and when you don't use your talents, you lose them. The scripture even says that.
Well, look. You are not going to lose your talents because you are working your talents, and that is great. That is great, and I really appreciate you being on the show tonight, Keisha. It's been a
Thank
enlightening
you. I really
conversation.
appreciate it. I love this. I didn't even expect this. This was great. And
Well,
I
thank you,
really respect you for all you do.
thank you, thank you. Well, I'm just trying to put a little dent in the world, make a little difference. Trying to do my part and everything. But I think my audience tonight has had the opportunity to hear from a young lady on the move, a young lady who's, 10, 15 years down the road. We're gonna say, hey, we know her. We heard her.
So,
Because
Mr. Kearney, I wanted to mention, I hope you don't mind,
oh,
this week I'm going to be in a magazine that'll be released this week, over 2,500 stories. So
okay,
they will see me more in that magazine,
okay. What's the name of the magazine?
the Lovely Lady magazine.
Lovely Lady Magazine. Okay, audience, you heard that.
Mhm.
Keisha Esprit is going to be in the Lovely Lady Magazine this week. So if you get an
Yes,
opportunity, go into your local grocery store, bookstore, wherever you purchase your magazines from, and see can you purchase that magazine. So,
yes, the
um,
Lovely Lady.
Lovely Lady. Okay, that's
Yes,
cool. That's nice. That's nice. So we want to thank. I want to thank Keisha Esprit for taking out time from her busy schedule, and she does have a busy schedule. To sit down with me tonight. I really appreciate you coming on to the Urban Sentinel live show. Now tomorrow night, I do a news show on Tuesday nights, 8:30 Eastern daylight savings time and 5:30 Pacific time. Believe it is. And tomorrow is the name of the show is Real World News TV. And tomorrow night we're just going to be doing a recap of the top stories in the news for the past week. As we know, they're deliberating the case of Derek Chauvin in Minneapolis, and we're going to discuss that and discuss some other issues that are taking place in this country. But on Monday nights, we just like to take it a little easy, bring in some great people that are doing some great things in our country and in our world, and just highlight them. So again, I'm going to thank Miss Keisha Esprit for being a part of this show tonight. We know we're going to hear from you more. We're going to see good things happening from you. If you get a chance, go to Amazon. You can purchase her books. If also purchase a magazine, purchase the magazine she'll be featured in tomorrow, the Lovely Lady magazine, and we'll be talking, Keisha.
and
We'll be
closing, I
talking.
want to make this point. Some people are confused because my surname is usually double bar Reifer-Esprit. The Reifer is the
Mhm.
Barbadian side, and the Esprit is the Dominican side. Reifer-Esprit.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So you covering the whole family, huh? Covering the
Yes.
whole
I
family.
represent both sides because I'm a product of both.
Okay. That's good. That is great. That is great. So look, everyone. Good night. Have a great rest of your week. Enjoy yourself. Be safe. Wear your mask. Take care. Good night,
Thank
everyone. Bye
you.
bye.
Good night, everyone, and thank you all for listening in.
Take care now.
Okay.